Cavnaugh with HIVHero.org and HERONEWS.org, and I'm here with Nikki M. James. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm fantastic. You have such a great career already, and you're so young. But I heard,
young. You're so nice to me. I knew I liked you.
Yeah, but you won the Tony Award for Book of Mormon. What was that?
You were right, Mama, you didn't lie. The place is real,
What was that like, being on the Tonys and?
Oh, well, I mean, it was as anyone could possibly imagine, it's a total dream come true. It's like an out-of-body, surreal experience, and then to be standing on that stage having Harry Connick Jr. say my name.
Tony Award goes to Nikki M. James, The Book of Mormon.
To win a Tony Award was just magic. It was really an incredible night.
This is, I didn't expect to be standing here tonight, and I tried to write a speech, but I felt silly. This award is for my poppy, who isn't here with me tonight, but he sits on my shoulder every night, and for my angel on earth, my little Ozzy. You are a miracle, and you remind me every day that miracles do happen. Thank you to the wing and everyone.
So you're from New Jersey, and you've had a long career. I believe that your first real role was in high school, and there's an interesting story, isn't there?
Sure. I started performing and singing as a young kid. I think the very first time I sang in front of people, I was 5 years old. I sang The Greatest Love of All at my, maybe I was 6, at my kindergarten graduation, so I probably was 6. And it was the very first time I sang in front of people, and I felt madly, deeply, head over heels in love with performance and all that. And then my senior year in high school, I played Dolly Levi in a production of Hello, Dolly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They were originally going to do The Wiz, but that didn't go over well with some of the parents. So I got to play a Yenta from Yonkers instead of a black girl from Kansas.
I wish we could find some footage of that.
I'm sure it's out there someplace.
Raise the roof, I'm gonna carry on. Give me an old trombone, give me an old baton. Before the parade, before the parade, before the parade passes
So you made your Broadway debut in?
I made my Broadway debut in The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. I was still in college. I was a sophomore in college. I played one of the Tom's friends. It was a huge flop. We opened the week after the producers in 2001, and we ran for 2 weeks. It was a heartbreaking and also like a really wonderful learning experience. Listen, I was 19 years old. I had no business being on a Broadway stage. Like, that was amazing. And it lasted exactly 1 semester of college, so I consider it my semester abroad. And then I went back and I finished my degree. I think it was a great lesson about life and this business that it's not a destination. There's no point at which you've arrived and then it becomes easy. It's a constant struggle. It's a constant battle. And whether or not the show is a huge, big success like the Book of Mormon or a big old flop like The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, it doesn't stop the amount of energy, love, and dedication that you're putting into it from your side. So that was a big lesson for me. And also not to move to the most expensive apartment you find when you get offered a Broadway show.
Well, no, that's good advice. Right?
Don't move to the most expensive apartment you could find.
Right. You got married recently.
I did. I'm a
love of her life.
newlywed to the love of my life.
Let's see how big the ring is.
It's a pretty big
That's
ring.
a pretty big stone.
He did a nice job.
Well, one of my favorite things about you is you were Epony
Oh, yeah.
in Les Mis, which is such a great role. It's like one of the best songs
Thank
ever
you.
in theater.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. The tragic urchin.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Turning, the world is full of happiness that I have never
is there any time that you were up on stage and you majorly screwed up?
Oh my goodness! If I said no, I would be such a liar, and everyone would know. Probably the most embarrassing moment was I was doing Les Mis, and I was singing on my own this song that everyone in the audience knows all of the words
And they wait
to.
for that. They wait for that song.
I'm standing there singing, and I get to the part where she sings, the world is full of happiness that I've never known. Like big note, big belty note. I'm standing downstage center on this Broadway stage, and at this point, I'd probably been doing the show for how long? 8 months or something like that. Very long time. It should be in my body. And I look, and something is weird. I noticed that the music is still playing. Like the orchestra is playing something that should have been, the way that ends, the world is full of happiness that I've never known. And then it comes out, and then you do, I love him.
Yeah.
I love him. But I hear them still playing, and I look down at the conductor, and he looks up at me, and he just goes, and it turns out I had skipped an entire verse. So I had to go back and sing the last verse again when I finally figured out where I was. And he was mouthing the words to me, sort of being like, you're wrong. And so then I had to do it again. The world is full of happiness and I've loved him.
We got that note twice.
Exactly.
The big note.
And it was so mortifying. And worse than that, because everyone in the audience knows, it's one of those things, you can't hide it. You're on stage by yourself. You've now repeated yourself twice. But worse than that, the next thing is that all the other actors come on stage at the end of that song, and when they heard the note, they all thought they were late. So it's just like mayhem backstage of people like half dressed trying to like rush on stage before they realize that it was my F up. So that's probably one of the worst and most embarrassing things that ever have happened to me on stage.
Yep, you just have to act. So, listen, what is your advice to young people who want to get into the biz?
We live in a world where it feels as though we all have all the options in the world. Like we're kind of told kids, like, you can be whatever you want to be, and that is totally true. But you should be the things that, if you're going to go into this business, you have to know that it's the only thing that you want to do, because there are so many disappointing moments. Mm-hmm. There are highs, incredible, huge highs. I mean, I won a Tony Award. I was at the pinnacle of, my career. I'd reached this height, and then, a few months later, you get a disappointment where you audition for a job that you don't get. Like, there's no way to know from one minute to the next, if this is the thing that's going to continue to bring you income and success, unless it's something that feeds a different part of you. And so this is a job. It's I consider performing, acting, to be a vocation and not an occupation. I really do think it's a calling. Sure. And so if you have the calling, there's nothing in the world that should stop you. And you'll find ways.
It's easier if you're rich.
No, yeah, sure. It's easier if you're rich, but it's easier if you're okay being poor.
Yeah,
it's okay if you're okay to be scrappy, if you're interested in creating art for yourself, not because people are going to clap for you or pay you hundreds of thousands of dollars, but because it feeds you. And if that's your reason for doing it, then you can be a school teacher who performs on the weekend and feel just as satisfied and fulfilled as I am.
Right. So as you know, we're a site for newly diagnosed and people living with HIV. Do you have a message for young people about the importance of being safe?
I am a person who moved to New York City in 2000, and my community of friends, gay, straight, and otherwise, were beneficiaries of awareness and safe sex. And now many of my friends and a lot of the younger people I know are really benefiting from the ability to have PrEP and other kinds of medication where you can become undetectable but also prevent getting the disease. And I think that that is so important to remain vigilant. It is to not think that because we have a pill that we've somehow like eradicated this disease. Right. And I just remind people to be like deeply honest with themselves and with the people that they're interacting with, like what their statuses are, and have fun, but be safe. Oh, condoms are so hot.
All right, thank you so much. So you do a lot of charity work, especially Broadway Cares, who is our favorite organization. The
Sure.
Actors Fund benefits from it. Why do you take the time to do that? Why is that important to you?
I appreciate all of the the incredible things that I've been given, a lot of opportunities that I've been given, and I also think it's a responsibility. It's our responsibility to give back. The Broadway Cares is giving money to so many other organizations. The Susan G. Komen Women's Health Initiative. You know, we send money to crises all over the world, to the Hurricane Harvey in Texas and Katrina and all that kind of stuff. So. It is amazing to have people galvanize behind causes that they believe in, and I have the time and the money and the health, and while I can, I would love to give back, because I never know when I'm going to be the person who's going to be the recipient of.
So tell me your favorite New York story.
Oh, it's a Broadway-related New York story.
Let's go pay, because it's Broadway and ballet.
Sure, it's a Broadway-related New York story. I was 15 years old. I was obsessed with Rent. I would sleep on the street for tickets, and my favorite actor in the show was Jesse L. Martin. It was his very last show, and they had changed from a line to a lottery, because the line had been getting really long. People were waiting for days and days. It was not that safe. And my best friend Shannon and I lost the lottery for Jesse L. Martin's last show. I was devastated. It was the worst thing that had ever happened to me at that point. And so I'm hysterically crying, sitting on the street corner, on the curb, on 41st Street, before it was beautiful. And I remember Jesse L. Martin was coming in to go to work, and he saw us, and he was like, "Girls, why are you crying?" Well, like, we didn't win the lottery, you know, and I can't believe we're not going to be here for you. You know, in our minds, like, us being there for him wasn't a thing. And we went to a restaurant on Broadway and between 42nd and 43rd, which doesn't exist anymore, called Piccolo Cafe. Okay. And we were sitting there, and Jesse L. Martin, maybe 15 minutes before his show was starting, ran into the restaurant with 2 house seats that he had purchased with his own money to give to the 2 of us so that we can be there on his night. Great. So that was one of my favorite New York stories.
That is a great story.
It's pretty good.
Well, I'm so glad you're here in the jungle room. It's new for us. Do you like it?
This is amazing.
You feel comfortable?
I mean, I just was saying, I want these
Look
pillows.
what she wore.
I might steal it.
She just walked in with that.
And I'm in like an animal print.
I'm so glad you could stop by.
Thank you so much.
You're our Broadway hero of the month. And we really appreciate it. We're so happy you're doing our show.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Of course.